the Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a Supreme Court ruling has temporarily preserved access by mail to a drug used in medication abortion. We'll have the details ahead. Plus, Maine Maritime Academy will soon make history as the first maritime academy in the country with a nuclear engineering program. And a Mainer who was killed in World War II is finally laid to rest back at home. We'll bring you that story as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. The weather today looks nice and sunny with temperatures reaching 70 and maybe some afternoon rain showers as well. Let's get a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. All right, here we go. We have advisories posted, a gale warning up until 3 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday, with a small craft advisory up until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. So still dealing with some active surf along the coast, so getting pretty messy in those areas. On land, a few returns along land with a few rain showers there, but overall for us, we're looking pretty good. We will be dry as we do push forward today under a partly cloudy sky. Temperatures in the low 70s. The only problem today will be the gusty winds reaching up to about 35 miles per hour today, but later on this evening to the overnight, we will be watching for some showers and some thunderstorms coming up. Futurecast showing the increasing clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms on the way, with more on the way as we head towards your Wednesday, primarily further off towards the north. But most of today we will be dry under that partly cloudy sky with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, a Supreme Court ruling has temporarily preserved access by mail to a drug used in medication abortion, and local advocates are now speaking out. On Friday, the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals reinstated a previous restriction on mifepristone, a drug that is commonly used for medication abortions. The new restriction made it impossible to get it by mail or pick it up at a pharmacy, but rather required patients to go to a clinic to access that medication. Leaders at the Mabel Wadsworth Center were planning a response and steps to move forward when yesterday the Supreme Court temporarily blocked the appeals court's ruling and reinstated access to mifepristone while they review emergency appeals. By May 11th, the Supreme Court must decide whether to continue with that or if they block of the lower court ruling will expire.
At least in the interim, access to mifepristone does not change, which means access to medication abortion by mail does not change. But understandably, this whole situation is going to leave a lot of folks very confused about care that is safe, effective, and just unfortunately very stigmatized.
Rulin says it's hard to predict how the Supreme Court will ultimately rule, but they stress that mifepristone is safe and access by mail for the drug is preserved for now. In other news this morning, a Mainer who was killed in World War II is finally laid to rest back home. Corporal Delmont Johnston's remains were identified last year after more than 8 decades. Mike Hartford, a photojournalist from our media partner WGME, shows us the somber ceremony recognizing Johnston's sacrifice.
U.S. Army Corporal Delmont Johnston, 21, of Monmouth, Maine, who was captured and died as a prisoner of war during World War II, was accounted for March 18, 2025. In late 1942, Johnston was a member of 16th Bombardment Squadron, 27th Bombardment Group Light, when Japanese forces invaded the Philippine Islands in December. Johnston died on December 30, 1942, and was buried in the local Cabanatuan Camp Cemetery in grave 836. In 1948, the AGRS examined the remains in an attempt to identify them. One set of remains was recovered from grave 836, but could not be identified as Johnston. He was declared non-recoverable on August 25, 1949. In December 2018, DPAA exhumed the remains associated with grave 836 and sent them to the laboratory for analysis, and found evidence that Johnston was, in fact, buried in grave 822.
I think the military, we all have a motto where no soldiers left behind, and sometimes when you can't bring them home, that's really a difficult thing to accept. So for these soldiers, it's been a long time, and it's bittersweet, essentially. It's sad, but it's joyful, too, at the same time.
It's an encouragement to all of us to remember who we are as a nation and to honor those who have served and have given everything they've had to give for our freedom. One of Maine's own, once again, has come home.
Well, in other news this morning, Senator Susan Collins toured a local technical education center after securing federal funding for the institution's new programs. Our Alexa Kennedy has the details.
Senator Collins visited the Mid-Maine Technical Center in Waterville on Monday, touring the center's newest program with students and staff. The senator viewed MMTC's engineering and manufacturing program after securing over $10 million in federal funding to support workforce development in Maine. Over $700,000 of the funding supported MMTC's purchase of machine tooling and 3D metal printing equipment. Senator Collins says the program is an investment in Maine's future by preparing students for a life after school.
It gives them a real boost if they're going on to higher education, but it also equips them with the skills that they need if they're going directly into the workforce.
Passed in 2024, the bill aimed to better prepare students for careers in high-skilled fields through workforce development programs.
It's very hard to teach machining, for example, if you don't have the equipment that you need.
Senator Collins says programs supporting technical career and educational training are essential for addressing the state's worker shortage.
It's also great for Maine's employers. We're short something like 3,000 skilled workers, and the programs like this make a real difference.
She says this program not only ensures more stability for the state's workforce, but the ability of Maine's young people to make a life here.
Programs like this help encourage students to stay in the state of Maine once they finish their education. It gives them the confidence to know that they can have a very good life right here in the state of Maine with a great job.
In Waterville, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Maine State Senator and Congressional District 2 candidate Joe Baldacci has received a major endorsement for his campaign. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee has added Baldacci to its Red and Blue program, which means the committee has identified him as a top candidate, will be investing in his campaign, and providing support to his run for the 2nd Congressional District seat. According to the DCCC, the Red to Blue program is a, quote, highly competitive and battle-tested program that equips top candidates with strategic guidance, staff resources, candidate trainings, fundraising support, and more. Well, another Democratic candidate for CD2 is now speaking out on the DCCC, throwing its support behind Baldacci. Jordan Wood's campaign expressed dissatisfaction with that endorsement, saying the committee is trying to decide the primary before voters even cast their ballots. Wood said in a statement, quote, somehow Washington, D.C. still hasn't realized that in Maine we make our own decisions about who represents us. The people of Maine will decide this primary, not a broken and corrupt political establishment that continues to fail us, end quote. The Maine Department of Corrections is now looking for an inmate who walked off the job site in Thomaston yesterday without permission. This is 45-year-old Brian Day, who is a resident of the Bolduc Correctional Facility. The Maine DOC says that Day has been sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for theft, forgery, and other offenses, but has earned a classification level of community custody and was working in the community during the workday. The agency says it's activated its fugitive investigation apprehension team and is now closely working with federal, state, and local law enforcement to apprehend Day. The DOC says anyone with information regarding Day or believes that they have seen him should report it immediately by calling 911. They say do not engage with him or approach him. Well, Maine Maritime Academy will be offering a new major that school officials say will further position it as a leading institution in nuclear energy education. Our Grace Blanchard with more.
Maine Maritime Academy will soon make history as the first maritime academy in the country with a nuclear engineering program.
It's a big deal for the academy, but it's a bigger deal for the state of Maine and for our country.
The MMA Board of Trustees recently approved the Nuclear Engineering Technology major, which MMA President Craig Johnson says is one of the first of its kind in the U.S.
We'll be the first maritime academy to go forward in really the exploration of maritime nuclear, but also working on small modular reactors and other type of things within the nuclear industry.
The demand for nuclear energy education has increased in recent years to address energy needs and other pressing issues like global warming.
And nuclear offers a very significant pathway to decarbonization. Unlike any source of energy, it has the highest energy density.
The Academy has a long history of nuclear energy education. The institution recently reintroduced a nuclear engineering technology minor after being out of its curriculum for 3 decades.
Fundamental principles of safe nuclear power is training and having the right fundamental skill sets within the operators of the nuclear vessels. And this program will definitely support those goals.
As they aim to address workforce needs, safety remains at the top of mind.
The maritime industry is inherently dangerous, but we've been working safely there for 85 years, and we'll continue to innovate and keep our safety practices at the highest level.
The Academy will officially begin offering this new major to students at the start of the fall 2027 semester. In Castine, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
We continue to monitor a steady climb in gas prices, which have risen another almost 23 cents a gallon in the last week. Gas Buddy's weekly survey of more than 1,200 stations around the state shows the average price per gallon now sits at $4.41. That is roughly 46 cents a gallon higher than a month ago and $1.42 higher than a year ago. The national average price of diesel has increased about 21 cents compared to a week ago and now stands at $5.62 per gallon. Gas Buddy's head of petroleum analysis, Patrick DeHaan, said, quote, "Markets are also digesting a wave of new developments, including OPEC, raising production for June, and President Trump outlining a plan to free stranded ships, which could help restore some supply. However, with so many moving pieces, broader price volatility is likely to persist in the near term." The time now is 8:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We'll talk to healthcare professionals coming up. But first, let's take another look at our forecast. Today, partly cloudy and windy with highs around 70 degrees. Overnight tonight, mostly cloudy with a chance of thunder showers, temperatures dropping down to around 50. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a chance of rain showers, highs around 63. We'll be right back.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Everything you got. Light it up, cowboy. Go, 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 go.
All season long, IndyCar is on Fox.
The green is out and racing is on.
Alex Palou.
Sensational.
Otto Award. Joseph Newgarden.
Are you kidding me?
And Indy's top drivers put it all on the line. Every race, all season long.
He's going for it. Oh!
Fox is the home for IndyCar. Welcome to the fastest racing on Earth.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, aimed at bringing attention to the more than 1 billion people around the world living with a mental health disorder. As our Alex Schley reports, healthcare workers are reminding people to take time for all aspects of your well-being.
When I'm having a hard day, I like to just hit stop and pause for a second, take a big deep breath.
I go outside in the sun, go for a run, get myself moving.
Try and spend time with my friends.
Regardless of what you do when you're having a bad day, this month, healthcare workers are reminding folks that it's important to be mindful about mental health. According to Mental Health America, mental health is our emotional, social, and psychological well-being. It shapes how we think, feel, and act.
It's really how our brain is working, how our life is going, and it's really the way that our brain is kind of driving our everyday life and how we make that connection through the way we feel about things, the way we're thinking about things, the way we act about things. Those are all interconnected.
This year's theme, More Good Days Together, encourages people to meet others where they're at. It reminds us that feeling good doesn't look the same for everyone. Northern Light Health is putting a local spin on that, emphasizing more good days in Maine. Officials say the theme focuses on everyday well-being, reducing stigma, and connecting people with resources.
Obviously, mental health, it really impacts the way we go about our lives and the way we're functioning in our lives. So if we're functioning in a healthy way that we think we think is going well, or if we're functioning in more of a less healthy way, it makes an impact on how we're perceiving the way we're working on things.
Through this initiative, officials hope to remind people that it's okay to not be okay. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, it's that time of year again. The city of Bangor is participating in the environmentally minded movement called No Mow May. The conservation campaign encourages people to skip mowing through the month of May to help support early season pollinators. This year, the city will again take part in that effort, waiting until June to mow some of its lower traffic areas. Bangor Planning Officer Anja Collette says that these efforts benefit both local plants and animals.
Anything that we can do to really help native bees, because native bees actually do a better job at pollination than honeybees. And they're really important for basically our whole web of life. So anything we can do to help them.
Collette says other city initiatives are also helping, including downtown Bangor, which has added a variety of new planting fixtures to beautify the community and in turn support those pollinators. The time now is 8:18. After the break, more details into the hantavirus infection affecting many on board a cruise ship. Plus, we'll highlight a Brewer art teacher who's passing her talents down to the next generation. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
I was barricaded at the Capitol on January 6th. I saw it firsthand. I'm Jordan Wood. We can't go back to a broken system. I can't stand idly by as Trump rips away health care. ICE is terrorizing our streets, and billionaires buy elections. I spent my career defending democracy from election deniers and fighting corporate PACs. We need to take on Trump, beat Paul LePage, and finally deliver Medicare for all. I'm Jordan Wood. I approve this message.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Hi, Rich Robichaud from J&J Auto Salvage. Yep, been here 40 years, retiring this year. Turning the reins over to Anthony and the boys. Hope to serve you for another 40 years. The next time you're thinking about saving money on your car, give us a call. We got fenders, doors, motors, transmissions, you name it, whatever it is, we have it. We're down on the Brewer Lake Road. Everything we sell carries a 90-day warranty. And don't forget, best attitude in the business.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
A fan favorite is coming to the Bangor State Fair in late summer. The Marshall Tucker Band will take the stage at the fair on Friday, August 7th. The Southern staple has been delighting music lovers for decades now, since the early 1970s, when their first album debuted. Hits include Heard It in a Love Song, Can't See You, and Ramblin'. Tickets will be sold at crossinsurancecenter.com, or you can call the center's box office as well. Kat Johnson is an artist through and through, and now she's helping students at Brewer High School tap into their own artistic abilities. Our Jody Hersey with more.
This is my favorite kind of art. You don't have to think about it. You can just meditatively repeat an action.
Kat Johnson is glazing a ceramic bowl inside her classroom at Brewer High School, where she works as an art educator. Johnson says art has always been a part of her life.
I feel like I've been making art my entire life. I was one of those very fortunate people who had a parent who believed in my abilities early on and really fostered that.
Johnson grew up in New York. When her mother moved to Maine, she eventually followed and put down roots in Bangor. Although she considers herself a printmaker and illustrator, she enjoys all forms of art.
I wholeheartedly believe that art is for everyone. I work really hard as an art educator to convince the kids who think that they aren't artists that there is a place in their life for art.
Johnson's ceramic bowl will be one of the many pieces for sale at Brewer High School's annual Student Art Show on May 27th. But her art is also available at the Rock and Art Shop in Bangor, as well as online at katjohnsonart.com.
It can be a distraction, it can be an outlet, it can be a celebration. It's so many things, it is what you make it. And I don't think there are any rules around it. I believe that it's all worthwhile if you gain something from it.
A local artist sharing her passion and her talents with the next generation. In Brewer, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 8:23. Let's get a full look at our forecast. Meteorologist Devin Biggs is in with the latest.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote. 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. So we have advisories posted. This right here is a gale warning that is up until Wednesday at around 3 a.m., along with a small craft advisory until Thursday at around 6 a.m. So we have advisories because of high surf issues. And in fact, already, look at this, at around 4 to 6 feet, according to the buoys, while further off towards the north and east, Look at the contours right there. Still rather active, and it's further out towards sea that we're still dealing with some problems at around 6 to even 9 feet. So the ocean definitely on the active side this morning. Now the radar picked up a few returns this morning with a few rain showers. Those have since moved out, and we will be under a partly cloudy sky today. Temperatures making it into the low 70s, so it will be a nice one today. The only problem, gusty winds reaching up to about 35 miles per hour today, so gusty winds will be the only problem before we get some precipitation in here later on tonight, and that will last into parts of tomorrow as well. So partly cloudy today. Notice the precipitation chances getting in here later on this evening. Some showers and thunderstorms. A lot of this will stay primarily to the north, but notice through Wednesday we'll have some more opportunities for showers and thunderstorms, especially late, and then this will stay, especially with some heavy downpours, even as we head towards early Thursday morning, and some decent downpours between now and as we head towards your Thursday, maybe an inch or two to the north, and some lesser totals farther down toward the south. But for today, here's what we're looking at. Partly cloudy and windy, low 70s for the high, and that south wind at about 35 miles per hour. By tonight, low 50s, mostly cloudy, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, and that south wind at about 25 miles per hour. Tomorrow, low 60s, mostly cloudy, some rain showers possible, and that south wind at about 25 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Thursday. Morning rain showers giving way to a partly cloudy sky with highs in the low 60s, and then low 60s again Friday, another chance for rain showers. And Saturday, the rain shower opportunities continue, highs again in the low 60s.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
Diabetes isn't a death sentence, but it is absolutely a life sentence, and you have to figure out how you're going to keep your kid alive. So when you find somebody from the government that's on your side, and it happens to be Susan Collins at the same time, that was just magnificent. After the meeting in Portland for my wife and son, my wife came back. She was 10 feet tall. She'd felt seen, she felt heard, and she felt like we had a powerful advocate on our side. It was a big step towards healing.
Thank you, Senator Collins.
Please continue delivering for T1 families.
Thousands of kids like Caroline receive life-changing care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year, the only full-service pediatric program north of Portland. You can help support them by joining the Summer Classic for Maine Kids Golf Tournament, happening July 31st at Bangor Municipal Golf Course. Benefiting the Children's Miracle Network at Eastern Maine Medical Center, every dollar raised supports pediatric care today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Ready to tee up for a great cause? Visit northernlight.org/4kids to learn more and register today.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
Begin with the fragile ceasefire with Iran hanging on by a thread after a new wave of attacks. Iran claims it fired warning shots at U.S. Navy vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. took aim at Iranian boats. And an oil site in the UAE was hit by a drone. ABC's Lindsay Tuckman has the latest from New York.
This morning, concerns that the war with Iran is about to reignite after Iran's neighbor, the United Arab Emirates, said it intercepted Iranian missiles and drones, one drone sparking a fire at this oil facility. Iranian state media also showing this video, saying rockets were firing warning shots at American destroyers trying to enter the Strait of Hormuz. The escalation coming after President Trump announced a new effort to guide tankers through the strait. 2 U.S.-flagged ships making it through yesterday. But Iran responded, firing at U.S. Navy vessels and a South Korean ship. The U.S. firing back, sinking 6 Iranian boats. President Trump refusing to say whether this means the ceasefire is over.
Well, I can't tell you that.
When asked if this signals a renewed conflict with Iran, the president saying this.
Well, one way or the other we win. We either make the right deal or we win very easily.
Trump now saying the war could last another 2 or 3 weeks as more Americans feel the impact at their local gas station, where prices now average $4.48 a gallon nationwide. That's up more than $1.50 since the war began.
We could be seeing a national average rise to $4.55 to $4.75 by the time Memorial Day rolls around. If the strait remains closed, into the month of June, I think by July 4, we'll be at all-time record highs.
In Michigan, prices rose 85 cents a gallon in 1 week. Lisa McGee, an Uber driver outside Chicago, says she's struggling.
I'm working a heck of a lot more hours than I ever imagined just to make ends meet.
Our new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll shows 61% call the war a mistake. Just 36% say it was the right decision. Lindsay Tuckman, ABC News, New York.
Now to gunfire on the National Mall in Washington. Some witnesses report hearing up to 5 gunshots in a rare shooting near the Washington Monument, an area packed with tourists not far from the White House. ABC's Hannah Battah with more.
This morning, a suspect is in the hospital after a shootout on the National Mall. Secret Service agents exchanging fire with a gunman blocks from the White House. A young bystander caught in the crossfire. The Secret Service says plainclothes agents spotted a suspicious man they believe to be carrying a concealed weapon.
They observed a print, we would call it, visual print of a firearm.
When uniformed officers moved in, they say the suspect ran, then opened fire. Agents fired back. The White House was briefly placed on lockdown, the press office evacuated. Coden Colburn, visiting D.C. from Michigan, heard the shots.
I was thinking, I want to get out of here, and I want to get my little brother and little sister out of here.
The Secret Service says a child was hit by the suspect's gunfire, but will recover. Authorities emphasizing they don't know if the suspect was in any way targeting the White House or government officials. Tensions are still high after the recent shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That suspect, Cole Allen, who's accused of trying to assassinate President Trump, was back in court yesterday. In a remarkable moment, the judge apologized to Allen for the way he's been treated in jail, being placed on suicide watch. The judge asking why Allen has faced harsher treatment than the suspects in the January 6th attack faced. After the riot at the Capitol, the judge saying, "People got closer to killing the president that day. I'm just trying to understand, why is there this great difference between Mr. Allen's situation and what happened there?" Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Now to the legal battle brewing for State Farm Insurance. Officials in California accuse the company of mishandling or underpaying thousands of claims connected to last year's devastating wildfires. California cracking down on the state's largest home insurer after an investigation uncovered hundreds of alleged violations in State Farm's handling of claims related to the Los Angeles wildfires. California's Department of Insurance says it reviewed a sample of 220 State Farm claims and uncovered nearly 400 legal violations within those claims. State Farm denies those accusations, saying it handled nearly 14,000 claims from the fires and has paid out more than $5.7 billion. If the court side with the state investigators, State Farm could pay millions in fines and also have its license suspended in California for up to 1 year. Well, Dutch authorities are in the process of planning medical evacuations for some people on board a cruise ship. This after several people have become ill and died on board due to a suspected outbreak of hantavirus. The organization has identified 2 confirmed and 5 suspected cases on that ship, and medical experts are testing samples to figure out the strain of the potentially deadly virus. Passengers are being asked to remain in their rooms. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten reports on the latest.
Tragedy at sea as a search for answers intensifies on board the MV Hondias. This after the World Health Organization cited a suspected outbreak of the hantavirus, a rare disease believed to have killed at least 3 passengers and affect several more who were on the Dutch cruise ship.
The main symptoms when it starts is going to be a fever and body aches and just feeling really bad. People will start feeling more short of breath, or your oxygen levels get low. Your kidneys can stop working.
Hantavirus is usually spread through contact with rodents or their droppings.
And what happens is when people disturb their nests and that urine and feces gets aerosolized and you breathe it in, that's how it gets into the human body.
The cruise ship, carrying roughly 150 passengers from around the world, including 17 from America, departed from Argentina. It then made several stops, including ones in the Canary Islands and mainland Antarctica, before heading to Cape Verde off the coast of West Africa, where officials are seeking help from local health experts.
This Andes a hantavirus that came from South America that was brought on the cruise ship, or it was something on the cruise ship and the rodents, if there were rodents on that ship, or did it get picked up along the way at the different stops?
There are no specific drugs to treat the disease, and patients with severe cases are placed on ventilators. The WHO says there is low risk to the wider public as investigations press on.
So in theory, the hantavirus could be transmitted from person to person, but that would be incredibly rare. It is almost always from the rodent exposure.
Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, Uno's Pizzeria and Grill is giving away a special surprise to some of our viewers. You don't want to miss it.
We need to get rid of Susan Collins. She is the epitome of the establishment politician who serves the donors and serves herself. Who is cynical and duplicitous. Who is willing to say one thing and do another. We have to shed her from our politics. Quite frankly, we have to shed all the people like her. I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Melissa Dawn.
Noah Kahan is on top of the charts. The folk singer's second album, The Great Divide, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. This is Kahan's first #1 album. Kahan thanked his fans, saying an album with mostly 5-minute songs doesn't go #1 very often.
I hereby declare this annual Nick Weekend.
We have our first trailer for the second season of 4 seasons. The new season will follow the friends vacationing everywhere from Italy to upstate New York as they mourn the loss of their friend Nick and welcome a new addition to the group. Season 2 of 4 seasons will premiere on Netflix May 28th.
Keep on changing, keep on changing.
Kevin Jonas is releasing a new single. The oldest Jonas brother released his first solo, Changing, last year. His new single, Little Things, will debut on May 15th.
You better believe in trying.
And happy birthday, Adele. The pop singer and Grammy Award winner is 38. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Dawn, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Now let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. All righty, here we go. We have advisories posted, a gale warning up until 3 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday, with a small craft advisory up until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. So still dealing with some active surf along the coast, so getting pretty messy in those areas. On land, a few returns along land with a few rain showers there, but overall for us, we're looking pretty good. We will be dry as we do push forward today under a partly cloudy sky. Temperatures in the low 70s. The only problem today will be the gusty winds reaching up to about 35 miles per hour today. But later on this evening to the overnight, we will be watching for some showers and some thunderstorms coming up. Futurecast showing the increasing clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms on the way, with more on the way as we head towards your Wednesday, primarily farther off towards the north. But most of today we will be dry under that partly cloudy sky with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports. Don't go away.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years with Paul and Mike in the morning. Local weather with Steve McKay and Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
You're already getting squeezed because Susan Collins voted with Donald Trump to raise healthcare costs and raise insurance premiums. Now, Susan Collins voted to give Trump a blank check for his war in Iran.
Gas and oil prices are on the rise as the conflict in Iran continues.
The war in Iran is impacting the global economy and raising the prices you pay.
Tell Susan Collins to stop supporting Trump's wars. Mainers can't afford it.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
Nothing is more comforting than a mother's love, and ABC7 and Fox 22 want you to share the love of mothers with a special promotion. Register to win prizes from some great local businesses. Our special Mother's Day promotion is brought to you by Joe's Furniture in Newport, Luigi and Fredericks in Bangor, and Color Concepts in Bangor. All you have to do is go to our contest page, foxbangor.com, and register to win.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years with Paul and Mike in the morning. Local weather with Steve McKay and Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
Your goal is to put items in the correct order before, in between, definitely after.
This is The Perfect Line. Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start on the gridiron as rookie mini camps were held over the weekend in the NFL, and one Black Bear made his first appearance in his new colors. Linebacker Chris Thomas, who signed with the Las Vegas Raiders as an undrafted free agent, was out in the Sin City this past weekend. The Raiders ran their rookies through training and drills. Thomas says each step of the process is a dream come true.
It was great. It was wonderful. Everything I ever dreamed of. I'm still just shocked and just blessed to have an opportunity. Kid from Maine, well, not from Maine, but kid going to school at Maine, and it's just something that you dream about, but you never know if it's actually going to happen. So, it was a blessed experience and a great experience, and I'm so excited to, go back in a week and meet the vets and, see what it's all about.
We'll have much more from Thomas on Tuesday evening. It was a tough Monday for Celtics fans as their team that was favored to win the Eastern Conference blew a 3-1 lead and lost the series to the 76ers in Game 7 on Saturday. Celtics season coming to a close with their 109-100 defeat at the hands of Philadelphia. No Tatum for the C's as he was ruled out before the game. and Boston started a lineup they hadn't started together all year long. Many things to discuss, but don't worry, Celtics fans. You aren't the only ones having a hard time coping with the loss. As star guard Jaylen Brown did a live stream Sunday night, voicing his displeasure with the refs, Joel Embiid's flopping, and more.
It's just my personal opinion on basketball. Some of y'all might disagree. You know what I mean? But argue with your grandma. Flopping has ruined our game. Joel Embiid is a great player, one of the best bigs in basketball history. Flops. He know it. This ain't breaking news. If I had to choose, if I had to like say there's some referees that need to be investigated, like just overall out of all the officiating, we had 3 of them in the last 3 games. It's weird activity. You gonna call me, right? And it's right here, right in front of you. Same move. Same move. Everybody does it. It's the same move, but this is a 3-point play. He makes a 3 right here. If it would have been me, that'd have been an offensive foul.
JB certainly using his platform there. We'll stay in Boston and check in with the Red Sox, who took on the Tigers Monday night. All sorts of weather in Detroit Monday night. And watch this, a broken bat ground ball turns into 2 runs for the Tigers as the throw is off the mark because the broken bat piece is coming right at Montestero. Those Detroit Tigers take a 2-0 lead. To the 7th we go, still 2-0 Tigers. Stands look like COVID times because of the rain delay, but Jarren Duran blasts a 3-run homer to give the Sox a lead. Still in the 7th. 2 outs and 2 strikes on Wilyer Abreu, but he fights it off and drives a run in to add to the lead. The Red Sox go on to win 5-4. Well, the Bruins might have lost, but we still have playoff hockey down in Portland. As Maine Mariners can lock up their first playoff series win in franchise history Tuesday night. The Mariners face off against the Adirondack in Game 6 of the North Division semifinals, with Maine leading the series 3-2. Puck drops 7 p.m. at the Cross Insurance Arena in Portland. The Mariners taking 2 of 3 on the road and could have easily swept the Thunder in New York, but fell in overtime on Saturday night. Now, if a Game 7 is needed, it would be there in Portland on Wednesday night, but the Mariners want to end this sooner rather than later.
You know, I told the guys that this is why we fought so hard to lock up that second spot, and now we have the opportunity to come back home here and wrap it up on home ice.
We'll stay in Southern Maine as both the Bates and Bowdoin men's lacrosse teams are not only in the NCAA tournament, both teams will be home for the early rounds. The Polar Bears received an at-large bid, while the Bobcats also earned a first-round bye.
I mean, it's just the 3rd time in our program's history that we've made the NCAA tournament, and getting another opportunity to play here on this field is really something unique.
Yeah, it's a 1-game season, win or go home, and we've got a really good group of seniors that want to keep this thing going as long as possible.
The Husson men's and women's lacrosse teams also making the NCAA tournament. We'll have more for that this week. That's all the time we have for now. We'll be right back after the break.
Craving something delicious? Welcome to High Street Market, located at 167 Enfield Road in Lincoln. Breakfast options? Grab a cup of coffee and try one of our sandwiches or burritos. When breakfast is over, we're just getting started. Pizza, subs, burgers, and pastries. Come get lost in Danny's Beer Cave. Order online and save 10% off your first order. High Street Market, where your taste buds go to party.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
When you get a little shout out at work, melt into your moment. Irresistibly smooth Lindor.
From me, the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah,
hand me a trash panda. That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it. 25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we have a bit of a familiar face here today. This is Mike Deneen from Uno's Pizzeria and Grill. Mike, thanks so much for coming back on.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, you guys have a very fun event going on very soon for Mother's Day.
Yes.
Can you kind of describe what that entails and what participants can expect?
So we're going to do another cooking class, but this one's focused around Mother's Day.
Yes.
Because it's really hard to figure out what to buy for people these days. So
It
Uno's
is.
came up with the idea of like, let's get people together and spend time with your kids and loved ones and do a cooking class.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different from the last one. You can do, since kids don't always love deep dish pizza, they can make their own little thin crust pizza.
Oh, nice.
And the moms can make their deep dish pizza.
Oh, well, that sounds like fun. And you guys probably will have all those sides and everything too to go along with that as well,
Oh yeah,
right?
they can choose their own toppings. You know,
Yeah.
the kids start off with their mozzarella sticks, because what kid doesn't love mozzarella sticks? And the mom gets a salad along with a complimentary beverage. Kid obviously gets complimentary beverage as well. And then their pizza, of course.
Yep.
And then a shareable dessert.
Oh, well, that sounds so much fun.
Yep.
And this is a great, we were just talking before we went live here. This is a great opportunity for, if you haven't gotten your mom a gift yet, this is a great chance to go experience something together.
Yeah, as I said, you know, you give them the gift of spending time.
Of course.
You know, it's so hard these days with how hectic people's lives are and so many things going on.
Yeah.
Going to spend this 2 hours just spending time with your mom or loved ones, it's really a difference maker for people.
Oh, for sure. And we actually, thanks to Uno's, we actually have 2 sets of tickets that we are going to be raffling off on Facebook after the show is over today. The sets of tickets, the one ticket equals one mom and one child, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So we're going to give you the opportunity to be able to do this for free.
Yep.
And I'll be able to post this after the show. Keep an eye out for that probably around 9 o'clock, and the details and directions will be on that post. But for you guys, I mean, this is probably, you do these cooking classes a lot, but maybe for Mother's Day, it's a little bit different, and you get to see maybe some different interactions in the room.
Yeah, you can just get to spend time with each other, and you know, a lot of times when it's a mother and a daughter, especially older, they don't get to see each other all the time because
Sure.
they've got their own lives going on, their own jobs, and watching them spend that 2 hours just hanging out, because it's not me talking the whole time.
Right.
It's me talking a little bit about the history of Uno's, and then a lot of just people talking amongst each other or within their own group. So.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a great time, and you're the one that leads it, right?
I do, yes.
You do, okay.
Yep.
So you're going to be putting the pizzas together and directing
Yes,
the whole thing.
yes, we'll be making dough, we'll be making our homemade salad dressing, I'll be helping them build their pizzas, making our partially baked crust, so we're gonna do it all together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, thank you so much. For anyone who wants more information on you guys, where should they go?
Well, they can obviously look on our Facebook page, which is Uno Pizzeria and Grill in Bangor, Maine. Make
Yep.
sure it's Bangor specific. But also, if they want to get tickets, they can go to eventbrite.com, same place as last time.
Wonderful. And on our end, you can go to Fox ABC Maine right after the show is over, and you can comment on that post to win a free chance to go and do this cooking class.
Yep.
Well, Mike, thank you so much
Well,
again.
thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
We're going to turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote. 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. So we have advisories posted. This right here is a gale warning that is up until Wednesday at around 3 a.m., along with a small craft advisory until Thursday at around 6 a.m. So we have advisories because of high surf issues. And in fact, already, look at this, at around 4 to 6 feet, according to the buoys, while further off towards the north and east, Look at the contours right there. Still rather active, and it's further out towards sea that we're still dealing with some problems at around 6 to even 9 feet. So the ocean definitely on the active side this morning. Now the radar picked up a few returns this morning with a few rain showers. Those have since moved out, and we will be under a partly cloudy sky today. Temperatures making it into the low 70s, so it will be a nice one today. The only problem, gusty winds reaching up to about 35 miles per hour today, so gusty winds will be the only problem before we get some precipitation in here later on tonight, and that will last into parts of tomorrow as well. So partly cloudy today. Notice the precipitation chances getting in here later on this evening. Some showers and thunderstorms. A lot of this will stay primarily to the north, but notice through Wednesday we'll have some more opportunities for showers and thunderstorms, especially late, and then this will stay, especially with some heavy downpours, even as we head towards early Thursday morning, and some decent downpours between now and as we head towards your Thursday, maybe an inch or two to the north, and some lesser totals farther down toward the south. But for today, here's what we're looking at. Partly cloudy and windy, low 70s for the high, and that south wind at about 35 miles per hour. By tonight, low 50s, mostly cloudy, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, and that south wind at about 25 miles per hour. Tomorrow, low 60s, mostly cloudy, some rain showers possible, and that south wind at about 25 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Thursday. Morning rain showers giving way to a partly cloudy sky with highs in the low 60s, and then low 60s again Friday, another chance for rain showers. And Saturday, the rain shower opportunities continue, highs again in the low 60s.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Is that a compression nut?
Oh! Ah! Ow.
We got a duct taper.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Aggravated assault, cocaine possession, endangering a child. These are just some of the crimes committed by illegal immigrants in Maine. President Trump deported all these criminal aliens. As governor, Garrett Mason will fight alongside President Trump, standing tough on illegal immigration, supporting law enforcement, and putting the safety of Maine families first. Garrett Mason will deport dangerous criminals. He'll keep Maine families safe. We have strong leadership in Washington. It's time Maine did too.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Chipotle is rolling out some freebies in honor of Cinco de Mayo today. The restaurant chain says that customers can score free chips and a side of queso or guacamole today with the purchase of any entree item. The deal is exclusively available through the Chipotle app or at chipotle.com using the code CINCO26 at checkout. Several other chains are also offering free food deals in honor of the holiday celebrating Mexican-American heritage, including a free Crunchwrap Supreme at Taco Bell, a free side of queso at Moe's Southwest Grill, and a buy one, get one burrito at participating 7-Eleven, Speedway, and Stripes locations. Well, it sounds like the story behind a new animated kids movie. A female Russian bear cub has made friends with a Caucasian shepherd puppy, and the relationship has helped pull her out of a funk. The 3.5-month-old female named Little Melon was discovering in Russia hiding in log piles by a passerby. She was introduced to Little Watermelon, and the two have become best buddies ever since, playing and roughhousing around. The caretakers were previously worried about the cub's mental state as Little Melon was showing signs of depression, but her new mate has turned that tide. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everyone.
Today, on 25 Words or Less, his performance on HBO's Hacks had viewers wishing it was on a network that still showed commercials. It's Dan Bukatinsky. And joining Dan are engaged couple Joshua and Andrea. She's appeared on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News in what I could only describe as a compelling advertisement for Al Jazeera. It's SE Cup. And joining her are returning champions, college friends Whitney and Katie. And now here's your host, Meredith Vieira.
Welcome to 25 Words or Less. Hey, kids, how's everybody doing? Everybody ready?
Good.
Ready. Okay. Well, you know, Jamie was mentioning all these news shows you've been on, Essie, but you also played yourself on House of Cards a couple of times, you told me. What was that like?
It was weird.